What's up, book nerds? My name is Tara, and today I'm going to share with you my top favorite reads so far of 2015. So far in 2015, I have read 35 books, of which I have given a 5-star rating to 10 of those books. That number is a little bit inflated because some of those were professional or academic books that I was reading from a list of like best of in my field. So ultimately, yes, some of them were really excellent reads. I'm not going to share those with you because I don't think you guys will be interested. But of the novels, there are 8 that I want to share with you today that I rated 5 stars, and I would recommend these as some of my favorite books from this year. So in January, I was reading books that were contenders for the Printz Award, that people that are into young adult literature were reading and saying these are sort of the best of when you talk about literary YA. And 2 books that were on the list were 100 Sideways Miles and Grasshopper Jungle, both by Andrew Smith. And so somehow this man can churn out like multiple books in a year. And this one ended up actually getting the Printz Honor Award. So the people that are like the queens of YA literature deemed this like super literary for this year. But this one was also really good. I knew when I read them that this was the stronger book for winning awards, but it's not for everyone, as I've said in a lot of my reviews. But I loved it because of grasshopper apocalypses and bisexuality and just like crazy historical, like they're writing down a history of the world as this apocalypse happens, and I thought it was fabulous. But for people that are Andrew Smith fans that are more into his novels like Winger, where it's just more contemporary feel, The 100 Sideways Miles is a really good book to follow up from Winger. In the story, the main character tracks his life in terms of miles that the earth moves every second. So 100 sideways miles is like the span of a part of a second. And the theory here is that like life can change in a very short amount of time. And the horse on the front of the book is because his life changed pretty significant when he was a kid. And this horse fell off of a truck, off of a bridge, and onto him and his mother, and it killed his mother, and it left him with some issues as well. And so life can change very, very quickly. And Andrew Smith just has this sort of wacky way of writing, and you know, this like horse falling out of the sky. The characters are very sort of witty about the whole thing. They're very enjoyable reads. He has a very good way with like sentence level writing and has just some profound things to say about like adolescence and life. And I found all of that here, even though, you know, this one was the big winner. So both of these got 5 stars from me. Another book I read preparing for the Printz Award was This One Summer, which I've also talked about on this channel. It is a graphic novel about 2 girls who go to the lake every summer. They are friends. They're kind of coming of age and realizing other conflicts that exist outside of them that adults are experiencing in the world. And the illustrations are absolutely gorgeous. And so I gave it 5 stars because it just absolutely brought everything about summer up for me. Summer's on the lake, and I could just feel it in every page, and I thought it was so well done. It actually ended up winning the Printz Honor Award and a Caldecott Honor Award, which I think is the first time that has ever happened, because the Printz is for young adults and the Caldecott is like for children, so, or for illustrations, and that's why it won it. So if you need it's a graphic novel, it's a very fast read, but it's definitely a great one for summer, and I highly recommend it because I gave it 5 stars. Then I read Rites of Passage by Joy Hensley, and I gave this one 5 stars because I love a good boarding school book, but also because it deals with some feminist issues, and you'll see on my channel that definitely gets a bump in a feeling from me. The story is about 4 girls who are chosen to attend as the first female group at an all-male military school. So they're finally opening this school up to girls. And when the protagonist of the story gets there, she realizes that there's a plot to get them to leave the school. So while there's a lot of cool, like, she's a very strong character in that she's physically strong, but she's also dealing with people who really hate her and don't want her there. And it doesn't shy away from the limits that they will go to get her out of the school. So the action pact was there. It was very interesting read and not like a lot of other things I've read in YA, and so it affected me in a deeper way than just me enjoying the words on the page, and that's why it ends up on my best of list for the year. Next, I read and loved The Bunker Diary by Kevin Brooks. I have a full review on this on my channel, but it probably is in the top 2 for books that I've read this year. It is a psychological thriller type story that explores the feelings of this character as he wakes up in a bunker and realizes that he's being held prisoner there and there's really no way to escape. And then he realizes he's going to have other people staying in this bunker with him, and the psychological tests and things that they're put through and how they deal with their situation. I was just completely floored by this book, and I recommend it to everyone. If you want to see more about my full thoughts on that and why, you can check out my full review of the story. In a similar vein, I also gave 5 stars to The Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly by Stephanie Oakes, and this is either The Bunker Diary or The Sacred Lies are the 2 favorites of the year, hands down, so far. And that's The Sacred Lies is a story about a girl who escapes from a cult and everything that happens as a result of her escape, but also all the things that led up to her escape. And it just is a really dark, gritty book that just completely kept me flipping pages until I read it almost in one sitting. So any book that not only I read in one sitting, but also has some interesting things to say on like psychology and society are going to be things that I end up rating very highly, as I did with this one. Recently, I also read The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. This book is compared to Gone Girl because it has multiple unreliable narrators and a thriller mystery type thing. But I also compare it to Gone Girl because of the way that it explores issues of women and relationships that women have with men and the complexities of those relationships, and female characters who are well drawn and have varying levels of moral fortitude. Is that a thing? Can I say moral their morality is up in the air a little bit. You don't know if they're good or they're bad. And finally, the most recent book that I've given 5 stars to is Devoted by Jennifer Mathieu. And if you've been watching the recent Duggar scandal, then you might be interested in this book. It is about a girl who's grown up in a family that is a part of the Quiverful movement. So that's the movement that the Duggars are kind of associated with, even though they claim to not be. And she is supposed to be like one of those good Duggar girls, but then is questioning her religion and if she really wants to be a part of all of this ideology that she's been brought up in. So it was very similar to The Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly in that they were dealing with very extreme religious groups, but it's not a thriller like Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly. So this is more of like a contemporary novel where she has some very difficult decisions to make, and it's a slower novel, but definitely a very well written one and a very relevant topic as of right now, which I think is what heightened my interest in the story as I was reading it, because I was just imagining her as those Duggar girls, and I'm just waiting for one of those Duggar girls to escape and be critical of this world that they've been brought up in. I don't know that that will ever happen, but this story fed that fascination with what that would look like if that did happen. So those are the, I think, 8 books that I have really, really loved so far in 2015. The best of these will undoubtedly, some of them will show up on my list at the end of the year of the best books that I've read once all is said and done on 2015. But for right now, I'm just totally recommending those books to the whole world because I very much enjoyed them. So that's all for now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.